Hello, everybody, and welcome into this Thursday edition of the Pack a Day podcast here on YouTube. I'm your host, Andy Herman. Before I get started today, I know that there is a ton going on in the world that is a lot more weighty and a lot more important than a Packers podcast. So I just want to start by recognizing that and also say, the reason I'm recording today is because I know people still need an escape from stuff. And that's honestly why I'm recording, is because I just need an escape. And for me, my escape is looking at Packers stuff and talking about Packers stuff. So if today is not your cup of tea, I get it. No worries, no harm, no foul. I appreciate you for joining me. If you need an escape, I get it. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk about Packers. And I also just want to say that if you need to talk about anything and if you're struggling with things, my DMs are always open. You can follow me on Twitter at Andy Herman NFL, and you can always reach out to me there as well. So with that being said, I am still going to talk some Packers today for those of you who want to talk Packers. So let's go over my grades for the defense today. And before I get to that, I just want to say I was pretty excited about the way that the defense played in this game. It was my second highest defensive grade of the year, second to Tennessee just the week before. So their two highest grades on defense in back-to-back weeks against the Titans and Bears, which are two playoff teams. Maybe the Bears shouldn't be. You can debate that if you would like. But I think one thing I just want to say really quickly about that Bears, you can say the Bears are a bad team. That's maybe fair. But they're 8-6 besides playing the Packers, right? If you put them in the NFC East and don't play Minnesota and Green Bay and Detroit, which I know Minnesota and Detroit weren't great, and instead you play Washington, Philly, Dallas, whomever you want to match them up with in the NFC East, they probably easily finish 10-6, maybe even 11-5 in that division. And nobody's talking about, the Bears aren't a very good playoff team. They're like, they're 11-5, 10-6, finished on top of the NFC East, right? But because they, played the Packers twice and lost to the Packers twice, they're 8-8. If they had beaten the Packers twice, well, they'd be 10-6 as well. So yeah, they're, maybe not the greatest team in the world, but part of the reason that their record doesn't look very great is because the Packers beat them twice. So don't take that away from them. The Bears are 8-6 and 2 games above 500 besides playing the Packers. So, kudos to the Packers for putting 2 back-to-back really impressive defensive performances together. This is also only the second time this season where the defense graded higher than the offense for me. The first one was the Panther game just 2 weeks ago. So again, you can see this defense starting to peak at the right time and starting to get in the right form with, again, outscoring the offense against the Panthers, their highest grade of the season against the Titans, and their second highest grade of the season against the Bears this past week. So really excited to see. And I just thought, again, am I ready again to crown the defense and say they're ready to stop Breeze and Brady and Wilson and whoever else they're going to see in the playoffs, Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl maybe, or Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen, whatever the case may be? No, I'm not ready to get there yet. I'm not ready to say that they're one of the more dominant defenses in the league, but I see them playing football the right way. I see them rallying to the football. I see them playing team defense. I see them being a bit more aggressive. I see them winning at the point of attack. I see the tackling getting a little bit better. Is it perfect? It is not. But I see a lot of players peaking at the right time. Rashaan Gary, Darnell Savage, Adrian Amos, Jair Alexander, Chris Barnes, just to name a few. I think Snax Harrison can play a role. Kenny Clark's been playing amazing. So I definitely think that there's a lot that's going really, really well with this defense. And I do think they are playing their best football this season at exactly the right time. And that's exactly what you want. High scoring offense is always fun, but in the playoffs, you need a good defense to supplement that. And often defense wins championships. It's cliche. It's lame. More often than not, it's true. And I think if you have this defense that can play like it did these past few weeks against Carolina, Tennessee, and Chicago with an offense that can beat you at any given moment, that is a really great recipe for success. I've been hesitant to again, crown the defense too much, but really, really impressed with these past 2 weeks of football from the D. All right, let's go over my top. I'm actually going to give my 4 highest grades today because the 4th one is more than deserving, and then I'll give my 3 lowest graded grades. Number 1, Adrian Amos. Just fantastic football. First of all, he is always so sound. He's always in the right place at the right time. He's, he is playing really well with Darnell Savage. Those two are playing off of each other at a incredibly high level. And I just love everything that he is putting on tape right now. He is deflecting passes. He's getting in passing alleys. He's playing some safety. He's playing some single safety. He's playing some in the box. He's playing some he's just doing everything right now. And he's doing it at a very high level. Obviously, the interception this past week to pick off Trubisky, which was a really nice play. And then also the forced fumble, which I know Preston Smith, ultimately had the offsides penalty, which negated it. But you don't take that big play away from him in the grades and how he played that individual play. That was a gorgeous play to come up, make the tackle, strip the football, recover the football. I mean, that's everything you want on any given play. And that would have not only taken points off the board from the Bears because they eventually went down and kicked a field goal, it also would have put Green Bay in prime position to score points before halftime and then get the ball back after halftime and potentially have that double up scenario. So just a huge play, a huge game all the way around from Adrian Amos. Tackled very sound, very, very few errors in this game from Amos as well. So certainly deserving of the number one overall grade for the defense in this game. Number two, Jair Alexander. You could almost say the exact same thing verbatim outside of playing all the different positions, but intensity, his ability to click and close. You can talk about the forced fumble, which is a gorgeous play in this game. My favorite play from Jair Alexander in this game was the very last play of the game. Trubisky hits Jimmy Graham about, an inch short of the goal line. Jimmy Graham, 6'6", 2 whatever the hell he is, versus Jair Alexander at 5'9 and a half, 5'10 maybe, and 180 pounds dripping wet. And Jair Alexander comes up and tackles him and literally throws him 2 yards backwards on the play. And it is the last play of the game. It doesn't matter. The Bears could score 8 points on that drive, and it does not matter. But it mattered to Jair Alexander to come up and make the tackle and make sure that Graham wasn't sniffing the end zone after catching that pass. It was just honestly one of my favorite plays of the season. And, going back to Jimmy Graham saying that he wanted to go to Chicago because they were more about winning or whatever the hell he said, what stupid comment, especially after having 2 crappy seasons in Green Bay where he gave 10% effort on blocking, get the hell out of here. To make that play at the end, and to potentially, it would have even been greater if it cost them the playoffs. It didn't because Arizona lost to John Wofford, but I digress. That was just an awesome play from Jair Alexander. And then the play where he, again, makes a tackle and then strips the ball out. I think it was Cole Kmet, but I could be wrong on that. Just another really gorgeous play by Jair. And then, oh, by the way, just his normal shutdown corner self, wherever he was traveling on the day. So another gorgeous game from Jair Alexander, who just, again, go out in the offseason. Maybe you don't have time to do it now. Maybe today's not the day to do it. But go out, if you have the money, buy NFL Game Pass and just sit down and watch the All-22 film and just watch Jair Alexander and Davante Adams. I don't care if you know a thing about how to scout football or break down football or know how to use All-22. You'll figure it out very quickly, and you'll see just how great Jair and Davante are playing and the level that they play with and the amount of skill that they play with. You can see it on game days on the TV tape a little bit, but you have to really be able to zoom out and see what they're doing within routes and how confident Jair Alexander is within the route combinations. He is never panicked, and he is always looking to do something, whether it's rip the ball out. It's gorgeous. It's so fun to watch. Do yourself a favor. Find All-22 NFL Game Pass. I think it's $100 for 365 days. And it's worth your money alone for watching Jair and Davante, what they've done this season. Number 3, Kenny Clark. 3 back-to-back gorgeous games from Kenny, really setting the tone on the interior of the defense. Again, I've said it a million times before. I'll say it again. This defense a lot of times goes as Kenny Clark goes. In the last 3 weeks, he's played some of the best football of the season, and the defense has played some of its best football of the season. You want to know why Chris Barnes is playing really good football? It's because people in front of him are eating blocks like Kenny Clark. Dean Lowry's playing better. Tyler Lancaster can eat those blocks. Now you got Snax Harrison in there. But kudos to Kenny Clark. Again, you see him resetting the line of scrimmage, getting into the backfield. This is a perfect example of a game where you check the stat sheet, you check the pressures, you check all that sort of stuff, and there's not a ton there, but you go and watch the impact that he made on the game and how he opened things up for everyone else. There were a couple times where Chris Barnes came screaming in for hits, and a lot of that was due to Kenny Clark eating blocks and resetting the line of scrimmage in front of him. And then number 4, a bonus one this week, Rashaan Gary. There is zero reason right now where Rashaan Gary should be behind the snap count to Preston Smith. They are playing at two totally different levels. I know Preston Smith had 2 good weeks the 2 weeks prior to this, but really love what Rashaan's putting on tape. He is playing aggressive. He is playing fast. He's playing ferocious. He is taking blockers and moving them to the side. He is playing with a ton of energy, a ton of hustle, a ton of heart. A couple plays where he chased down plays. Now in the last few weeks, he's been doing this. So really like what I'm seeing. And again, not a ton of snaps for Gary in this game and still making a huge impact. You just see him screaming off the line of scrimmage at times. He's going to be a very good football player, and love what he's been able to put on tape these last few weeks. Lowest graded player this week, Preston Smith. Just talked about it, 2 good weeks the 2 previous weeks. This was not one of them. Basically, he had almost a break-even game outside of the big penalty, but if you're not having your best season, at least don't make the mistakes in the penalties. And definitely don't make penalties when Adrian Amos is making this phenomenal play to rip out the football, recover a football. You can't make those type of mistakes. And he's had, I think, 6 offsides penalties now in the season. And those are the things that can kill you in the postseason. And this is why, again, I believe that Rashaan Gary should be in there at this point instead of Preston Smith. Number 2, Will Redmond, just struggled in this game, struggled in coverage, struggled tackling, struggled coming up and making plays. You could just tell in this game that there was a difference between almost really everyone else on defense and their skill level and what Will Redmond brought to the table. I was complimentary of Redmond earlier this season. I thought he was playing maybe outkicking his coverage a bit, maybe playing a little bit better than, what his overall talent level is. I thought this game, he kind of showed some of the warts in his game. Is he a, solid, 9th or 10th defensive back on your team who can play some special teams and come and play in a pinch? Sure. But I don't think you want him on the field too much in some of those playoff scenarios. We don't know anything about Raven Green and if he can come back or not, but that's one of those positions you kind of want to keep an eye on. They've mostly been keeping him off the field, but there's a handful of dime situations where he does get in from time to time. And then lastly, Kamal Martin had to play at the goal line where the opportunity to come up and make the stuff and whiffed completely. He's just playing way too fast right now. He just has to find a way to slow down. I love players who play aggressive, no questions asked, but you have to slow down, take a breath, and really at least hit what's in front of you and not just, it's like a bull in a, China shop right now. And it doesn't look great. And it's something where he has to get fixed, slow down, and make sure that those mistakes aren't happening. For those asking about Snax Harrison, a couple really nice plays on tape. And I mentioned this to Aaron Nagler on Let's Talk Football on She Said TV on Monday. One of the things that you saw from him is his ability to reset the line of scrimmage and move offensive linemen into the backfield. He did it on one really impressive play and kind of did it on a couple plays. You just don't see that from anyone not named Kenny Clark. You see Tyler Lancaster hold up at the line of scrimmage. Dean Lowry will reset one player from time to time. Kingsley Keke usually is going to use his agility a little bit more, but you don't see the just hulking strength to just kind of push players back. We saw a couple of those plays from Snax Harrison, and again, usually you only see that from Kenny Clark on defense. So to have a second guy who has the ability to do those sort of things in the run game is exciting. Had a couple bad plays as well. One play he kind of got washed out. A couple plays where he just kind of got blocked one-on-one. I think, obviously you can give some accident forgiveness on those couple plays where he's coming to a new team. He's still, I don't think, fully in game shape yet. So hopefully, by NFC Championship game, maybe one more game in the divisional round, NFC Championship game, and hopefully Super Bowl, he's good to go and playing at a high level. But even still graded in the positive and still had a couple really nice plays on tape. That does it for me. Thanks for joining me. Again, I'll always be available if you need me. You can reach me on Twitter at Andy Herman NFL. Thanks so much for following along and subscribing. Make sure to check out Jacob, Jimmy, and Maggie on today's audio version of the Pack-A-Day podcast. Until next time, and as always, go Pack Go.